Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on 2D's Productions. And today, as some of you might know, is Pokemon Day. So, to celebrate Pokemon Day, I think we should talk about Pokemon Switch, and because no one is going to be doing that at all, I'm sure. So let's get into it. So the actual point of today's video is to predict when Pokemon Switch is going to be coming out. And originally I have this huge script of information looking into the Switch's release dates and past Pokemon release dates and all this other stuff. But if we look at things like when Mario Tennis is coming out and when Hyrule Warriors and all these other Switch games are coming out, it leads us into a point where we can't predict when these things are happening, and we can't really predict Nintendo's release schedule, which makes sense because we don't know it. What we can look at, however, is past Pokemon game releases and how Pokemon kind of conducts itself in regard to its releases. So, I have a lot of information on this. I have condensed this down a little bit because I don't think it's as important that we go into everything, but there are a couple of dates I want to mention. The first of which being October 12th, 2013. This, as some of you may know, is the release date of Pokemon X and Y for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, this date's important because that's when Pokemon switched from having their games come out at different times in different regions to having a worldwide release in most of their regions. Some places it still comes out afterwards, but for the most part, the States, Europe, Japan, it all comes out at the same time. And the reason why this is important is because if you're going to go off of the original Pokemon release schedules and how they did things, it's a little bit messy because you'd have to go off of Japanese dates, and gap years and whatnot change between if you're looking at when Japan released their games, when the United States released their games, when Europe released their games, and it gets really messy and complicated, and there's no reason to look at that because that's not the method they use, like I had said. So what we're going to be looking at is the release schedules and how they worked out for Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. X and Y is the outlier here because those games came out in October. For the past 3 games, however, which are Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon, all 3 of those games came out in November. They also all happened to come out on the 3rd Friday of November, which it could be a coincidence, but for the past 3 games to do so, it kind of looks a little bit fishy. Now, to back up that claim, we have to look at the Pokemon films, because Pokemon has always released a Pokemon from the upcoming generation in their films before the game launches. For example, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, or the Zoroark movie, which were a part of the 3rd and 4th generations respectively, showcased Pokemon from the upcoming generation. And Pokemon has always done that. So we need to look at the movie schedule and see when the first Pokemon Switch Pokemon is going to show up in a film, because that will give us more information as to when it's going to be coming out, on when the game itself will be coming out. So we're going to have to look at the upcoming Pokemon film, Pokemon the 21st movie. We don't really know what it's called yet. We don't know much about it, other than it has Ash Ketchum in it, which seems to be the Ash Ketchum from Generations. This new girl character we don't know, and it's going to feature Lugia. Now, the secret here is that, like Pokemon I Choose You, which came out last year, it featured Marshadow as well as Ho-Oh. If this movie features Zororia, which is the new legendary that was found in the code of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I'll put up a picture so you guys know what I'm talking about. If this film features Zororia and Lugia like Marshadow and Ho-Oh in the last film, then we're probably not going to get a new Pokemon game this year. Well, at least if Zoroark is the only Pokemon showcased. It's also important to note that both of these films came out, or are going to come out for the 21st Movies case, on the 2nd Sunday of July in Japan. So we can assume that they're going to have a similar release schedule to Pokemon I Choose You did over here in the States. It came out on the 1st Sunday of November. Now, if we're going to get the 21st movie on the 1st Sunday of November, and we're going to get Pokemon Switch on the 3rd Friday of November, it gives us enough time to have that game's Pokemon show up in the 21st movie. The secret of it is, because Zororia, like we talked about, Zororia is the only legendary being shown, and this is Zororia's movie. That means Pokemon Switch will not be coming out in 2018 because there won't be a Pokemon from the upcoming 8th generation in the 21st movie. However, If there is, this lines up perfectly with what they did for every other game. There is enough time for the film to be released in the US, like they showed off Magirna a little bit beforehand, and then they had the Magirna and Volcanion movie. So it's not unprecedented for a legendary from Generation 7 to be shown with a Pokemon from Generation 8. We just don't know if that's what's going to happen. If it follows the exact schedule that Pokemon I Choose You did, which granted is a difficult thing to do with animation and whatnot, but if it does, we can expect Pokemon Switch, if it follows the third Friday rule that so far all the games have been following, it should be coming out on November 16th, 2018. And that's not too far from now, so I do feel like an announcement has to be coming on soon. But if not, we should expect it on the third Friday of November the following year, at least from the research I've been doing. Again, this is entirely speculation. I don't know anything more than anybody else does. I've just been looking at information, and it seems to be lining up in a way where Pokemon Switch could most definitely be released on the 16th of November. But that's all dependent on if a Pokemon from Gen 8 is going to show up in the 21st movie. If not, we're going to have to wait for the 22nd movie to come out, which is going to be at least another year. So Pokemon Switch is definitely coming 2018 to 2019. Nintendo has said this much, that it's 2018 or later. But it's either going to be the 16th or next year, in my opinion, because of the information I'm looking at. If all the other Pokemon, the past 3 Pokemon games, 2 of which were in totally separate generations, if they are all coming out on this third Friday in November, I think Nintendo wants to keep Pokemon as that third Friday in November game. It also makes a lot of sense because November is really close to Christmas time, and you want to get Pokemon out then because it's going to move systems for Christmas. You know what I mean? It just makes a lot of marketable sense there. But they could throw a complete curveball. Like I said, X and Y, which is part of this, games we're looking at, this worldwide release, came out in October. So could Pokemon Switch be coming out in December? Sure. Could it be coming out in January 2019? Absolutely. But I feel like the third Friday in November is looking like it's going to be the release date just because of Ultra Sun and Moon, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire all hitting that same date. And there's even a gap year between Omega Ruby and Sun and Moon. So it's lining up, and I think Nintendo wants Pokemon Company to release it in 2018. I think they're going to try to stick to that 2018 number. Same thing with Xenoblade, where everyone was like, well, it's going to get moved back. And Nintendo's like, it's not going to get moved back. But they kept reassuring us. That's the thing that makes me skeptical about this, is that they keep reassuring us and saying, no, it'll be out this year. They're not doing that with Pokemon Switch already. They're already saying, well, maybe 2019. So I think Nintendo really, really wants Pokemon to hit that 2018 mark and make it by the end of the year. But if there's a lot in this game and they just have to work on it, it's probably going to be moved to 2019, which at that point, we have to wait for that 22nd movie. It's all going to depend on the films. So keep your eye out and keep your eyes and everything, all you Pokemon fans and who just follow the games and don't really follow the anime, keep looking at the films. If a brand new Pokemon gets dropped on those films, it's going to be November 16th in my opinion. That's when the game will come out. If not, we're probably going to have to wait at least sometime in 2019, probably the third Friday of November in 2019. But that's a long way off still, and I'm not sure they want to hold Pokemon all the way till then. But for me, I'm thinking November 16th, and we'll see. I guess only time's going to tell if this prediction's right. I know this is crazy out there, but hey, if I got this right, that's pretty cool, right? I mean, I don't know. So, guys, remember to share this video for friends. When do you think Pokemon Switch is going to be coming out? Do you think this November 16th idea I have makes sense, or am I just crazy? I'm probably just crazy. I spent a lot of time in this small room by myself looking at numbers. So there is that. I'll see you guys next time. Remember to share this video with friends, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time. I think I've said that 3 times now, so I should go.